Hello everyone. Some of my most popular videos I've ever made are talking about what shrimp you can mix together. A lot of new people, they want to have different colors of shrimp, but they only have one tank. So the question is, what shrimp will mix best together? A lot of people will tell you you can't mix shrimp together, you'll get nothing but wilds. But, but shrimp lines that are very similar genetically you can successfully mix. Now, it is very important to remember that when you mix different colors of shrimp, mix different shrimp lines, no matter what you're doing, you're always sacrificing quality for variety. So if your biggest concern is having the highest grade shrimp possible, don't mix your different shrimp colors. Don't do it. But if you want to have some natural variety but you don't want all wilds. You want to have the best shrimp you can, but still mixing different colors together. I've tried several different ones throughout my many different breeding projects, and by far the best two different shrimp lines I've tried mixing together and having success was blue jellies and reds, as you can see right here. Going back a couple years now, I started talking about trying to mix blue jellies with reds because I thought there was a pretty good chance we would get red realies, and I was right. This 40-gallon tank was just a red coal tank, and I put with hundreds and hundreds of red coals, and I put some blue jellies in here, and eventually I had some red realies pop up, and I think it was like 18 or 20, and then I started after 3 resets. Obviously, when you're starting a line from scratch, making one yourself, it's going to take a lot of time. But as you can see, I've lined out the red realies, and the better and more realies we get, the more blue jelly I have popping up. And the first time we did this, it was probably like 70% red, maybe 30% really. And the second time, it was still maybe 50-50. And this time, it's hard to tell the little ones, and they all might not be the best realies, but over half of them are realies. So it's going to be a long process, but every time I reset this tank, it gets better and better. We made these by putting some blue jellies in the red tank. Then when they made some realies, separated them in here, and now I just let them breed out and reset every generation or two, and they're making progress. I also put some blue jellies and reds outside of my pond. I didn't see any wilds per se. I did see some super low grade reds and super low grade jellies, but I seen realies, red realies, and even blue red realies, which is the red on the head and tail, and blue jelly blue in the middle. This is the 75-gallon tank I just redid, and it is now going to be my red coals, my blue jelly coals, and when I do my tank resets on my red really projects, the ones that don't get kept will go into here. And so it'll be a fun coal tank. I always kind of say there are 2 different ways of keeping shrimp. And it's always fun to keep the highest grades and do all, try to have the perfect shrimp. But I personally find more enjoyment in tanks like these where you get a variety, and then again, we're talking about similar genetics. A variety, but they're close enough related that you're not going to get wilds all over the place. Now, eventually, I'm sure there'll be a handful of shrimp that aren't going to be great. So if there's any shrimp in here that are, like a lot of some of those can be completely colorless. those will get pulled out. But, I mean, really, this is just going to be a fun tank. So let's talk about the setup of this new tank here. It's the same filter setup as I had on the tank before when it was Blue Dreams. 3 size 5 coarse sponge filters. An Eco Plus 396 pump. Coming up to the spray bar with a UV sterilizer in it. And then I have the 3 40-watt LED shop lights for lights. And I made a background to block it. The main goal was to block out the light, but I put a little bit of some little LED strip lights in there. So just for a little nice touch, this is possible for the background. So I had an idea where I wanted to put a whole bunch of jungle Val in here. I wanted to try to keep it in bounds. So I got this pot. It's like a succulent pot. I got it on Amazon. It's like a really strong, solid plastic, and it looks pretty nice. I could probably make it look nicer if I did rocks. More rocks, make it look more natural, but for now, it's good. You may be thinking, for a brand new tank, you sure got a lot of snails and snail shells. Well, that's because every time I try to put jungle Val in a new tank, it always struggles really, really bad. So in that 40-gallon, that used to be my jungle Val farm, I dug out enough substrate full of mud and gunk and everything and filled that up. I'm hoping that'll aid the jungle Val in coming along now. I usually have success with jungle Val, but sometimes in my tanks they'll take like a year. So if it struggles real bad, I'll probably just rip it all out and put some crypts in there. But I hope the jungle Val works. We'll see. I hope it does. It should. And then the next thing I did was a whole 50-pound bag of black diamond blasting sand. Brand new. That's what is over the rest of the tank, besides the jungle Val planter. And then I picked up this Pogo Stemon a few months back, and it really likes my water, really likes doing good in my tank, so I'm propagating it here. The goal is to eventually let that whole side there with the Pogo Stemon just take over, and it will mostly cover up the filter. Of course, the jungle Val will do its thing, and then somewhat artistically, I tried anyway, there's going to be 3 patches of moss. And I've showed you guys a couple times in other videos. You can take just a few little sprigs of moss and pluck it in the substrate, and if you stick it close together, all that moss will grow itself in together and it'll end up looking like a big moss carpet. But I'm going to have a patch here, a patch here, and a patch here, and with the Pogo Stemon growing all the way up to the top and the Val all the way growing up to the top, I think it'll end up looking pretty sweet. So the shrimp I started off with, to start this tank, I had a 20-gallon blue jelly tank. I wanted to try to go in a different direction, so I just kept out like the best 20 shrimp and everything else. Yeah, there's culls in here, but there's still lots of good ones too. So I reset the 20-gallon blue jelly and then pulled out all the moss and stuff in my 75-gallon and plucked out like 100 bad males, and there's a handful of decent females that ended up in here too, just to help get it started. So I'm closing. I'm not trying to breed show shrimp in here. I just want a fun Skittles cull tank that's not going to go wild. So, like I've always tell people, you do this, you're sacrificing quality for variety. Some people will just say, "Ah, oh, you're crazy. You can't mix different colors of Neocaridina." Well, I'm here to tell you can, in a very controlled fashion. So I didn't just get random shrimp from, these are all lines that I've been working for years. So I know exactly what these lines are. They're clean, and I know what to expect. And I know you mix these together, you'll get reds, you'll get jellies, and you'll get red reallys. And every now and then, you'll get a blue red really. And I hope to play with these genetics and see what possibilities are. Just have fun and enjoy it. This is a tank for me, for my enjoyment. And I like it a lot. So thank you guys for watching. Bye.